Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and start recording the recording here. So I'm too lazy to do a formal edit of this, so I'm just going to record it and talk over it while I'm recording it. So go ahead and disregard this little bar here or these names or whatever, because it is going to get a little confusing. But I'm just going to give you a few tips of what may have been better ideas situationally. You don't have to take my advice if you don't want to. Ultimately, you got to do what you are more comfortable with. These are some tips of what I would have done, and then I'll see about showing some examples of what I would have done too in my own recordings, just so you get a feel for some decision making here. So I'm going to go ahead and start playing this. First of all, let me switch this over. System sounds okay.
One.
Is it gonna record what we say?
Yes, it's gonna record what you say, Eli. Thank you very much. All right, so we see where the Anna's standing. She's actually in a very safe area. She's peeking out to where she can do some sniping here, but that area is a pretty good corner to duck behind. Also, I wanted to point out something here. So look at the Rhine shield. As you're trying to take cover over the Rhine shield, what happens more often than not, especially in lower SR, is when the Reinhardt tries to do a fire strike, he puts down his shield and everybody behind his shield ends up being open targets for a sniper. So you're using a shield right now. I would actually say is to use that barrier to his right. So I'm going to pause it. That barrier right over here is what you want to use. Now I'm going to make this full screen. Okay. So this barrier to the right is what you're going to want to use.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and boosting is a great idea here. I would have boosted the Widow first, actually, and it's just because the Widow is more likely to do more damage with a hit. So she can one-shot people if you're boosting her. If she's down, I would say boost the Hanzo. That situation or that priority order is going to change over time. And towards the end, I will try to describe what makes you want to boost the Hanzo over the Widow and vice versa, at least in my opinion. So, for the Anna, that was a good move to heal her. You need to start being more careful here. Is that you see a red trail, and that is a Widowmaker shot. So she shot at somebody, so you want to be careful. We also see that there's a Winston here. I would not stand too close to the Anna. What you could have done with the Anna is to go ahead and move in range of her and then start to move out of range of her. And so what that does is it really takes 3 seconds to heal a squishy character like Anna to full. So the beam actually sticks for 3 seconds as well. So you can go in range and then out of range, and you'll be further apart from the Anna. You don't want to get too close to your own healers, because what's going to happen is if this Winston dives and he jumps on both of you, and Moira, the enemy healer, throws an orb, you're both going to die, and so the team is going to lose both of their healers. So you want to be conscious of your positioning with the other healer and not get too close. Sometimes it becomes a disaster in matches where there's a tire coming at you and you go to the other healer because you're panicking. I do that all the time too. So that is probably one of the more challenging things to pay attention to, because there's so much stuff going on. But I mean, everybody does it, but you do want to be conscious that the other healer, you don't want to end up painting yourself an even bigger target with the healers in the same spot.
Okay.
Okay, let me turn on the volume here. This is about to get ridiculous here. Okay. And my throat's getting a little dry, so if I cough during the recording, I'm sorry. I still have a little bit of a cough, but it's almost gone. All right, let's look at that for a second. We're gonna rewind this here. This could have been a big trouble. All right. All right, so we have 2 snipers at this point. And what's happening is you have one sniper targeting one healer and the other sniper targeting the other healer. This is so risky. You cannot afford to go into this window whatsoever. It's just so risky. Or worse comes to worse, they both start aiming at you, and if they both aim at you, one of them is going to get you. So this window, when there's no tank in this window, you can't afford to just jump out in front of it. You do have the barriers where you can go across really quickly and move to where you need to be, but right now you're hovering, and I think any decent or really good Widowmaker would have just shot you out of the air. So just remember is that as we get higher SR, you're going to start encountering the Widows that sit there for an hour a day just doing headshots on Annas, like I've showed you before. So when they do that an hour a day, they're not really going to miss. They're going to have like a 70% headshot ratio, so or 70% accuracy rather, and so that's this is a scary situation here. Is if you were to die or if you lost this point, the enemy team is just going to rush. That's it. They're just going to say, okay, let's go forward, and that's it. So I think that is one of the things that you should be conscious about, is just being careful of the sniper's line of sight. This other situation here, I'm just going to rewind it because I was like talking as I was doing this. Okay, so let's look at this real quickly too. So this other situation is you're going to fly to the Reinhardt's to heal him. When you fly to him to heal him, I think you can actually reach him from where you are. I would have said to fly, but actually go past him rather than directly on him, because the other Reinhardt is just going to have to swing twice and then you're going to die. I think you make it out alive, but really you shouldn't have. This is something where you absolutely should have died. So, see, you're right on top of both Reinhardts now, and so this is a problem. The other problem too is that the Winston sees that you're really close and he jumps too. So the Winston is explicitly trying to kill you right now. If this was comp, this would have been a huge disaster, because what would have happened is that the Reinhardt and the Winston would have seen your own friendly Reinhardt, and they would have said, okay, well, the Mercy's right there. Forget this Reinhardt. We're just going to go after the Mercy because we have spawn advantage. So if we get the Mercy down, it doesn't matter if we die or not. We can just race back and get back faster. So this would have been a game-turning situation here, is that this would have actually caused you to lose point A immediately in this push. So I think that this is something that's just a matter of practice, is when you're jumping to people, just being conscious of where you're gliding to or where's a safe spot, and you don't want to jump exactly on your team members. And the reason why is because when you jump past them, you can use them as a slingshot to go back in the opposite direction if the Winston, for example, keeps jumping on you. So you can keep going back and forth just like a yo-yo and stay alive that way. So we'll just go ahead and move on. All right, so this is going to be a little bit more risky. Is what do we know now? We know that the Reinhardt and I hope the Roadhog has made his way over here. All right, so I just wanted to point this out, and this does turn out well, but right now you have the Widowmaker shooting in your direction. You have the Reinhardt fighting the Winston. You have the Roadhog fighting the Reinhardt. You have the Moira over here fighting the Widowmaker on your team. So this is kind of a terrible situation here. So what you need to do, the biggest priority right now, if the Reinhardt dies, you will not be able to hold this point whatsoever. So he is the top priority here. So you have to make sure that he kills the Winston under every circumstance. This is a little bit risky because you have the Widow shooting at you already, and the Reinhardt could potentially realize where you are and start swinging at you. I would have run a little bit to the left so you have an angle on the Reinhardt and the stairs, and then I would have glided over towards the stairs behind this wall and run up the stairs and healed him from down, or looked down and healed the Reinhardt, or boosted him. And I would have healed him just enough to be able to survive this fight, but I would have boosted him so he starts getting ults, or an increased chance of ults. And then once the Reinhardt kills the Winston, I would have turned around and started boosting the Roadhog here. And then, of course, the Moira will be taken care of on her own by the two tanks. But I think if this was comp, what would have happened is the Moira would have killed the Widowmaker and then probably thrown her orb in and then started looking for you. So I think that would have happened. Okay, we do see that the two tanks start going after the Moira. So that could have been really messy, but it turns out all right. Let's go ahead and keep going. Leave the Reinhardt to do whatever he's doing. I don't know, he's taking the long way. In this case, I would have rezzed the Widowmaker. And the reason I would have rezzed the Widowmaker is you know that right now the enemy team consists of a Widowmaker, a McCree, a Ashe, a Winston, a Reinhardt, and a Moira. So that tells me they have one healer. And this is a time where I would have announced, okay guys, this enemy team has one healer and the tanks just killed the one healer. So that means this push is done. So if you had rezzed the Widowmaker, it would have given the Widowmaker time to get into place and start sniping before the enemy team groups together to make their next push. I would say if it was anybody other than the Widowmaker, I mean, it really depends on the character. Like if there's a soldier, you could just let the soldier run back. But with the Widowmaker, since she needs time to get set up or a good spot so she can get ready, I think if she was ready, she'd be able to pick off one person or one of the squishies, and you would have had your res back in place by the time the enemy team reached the point. And so that would have been a pretty good decision here, and I think she expected it, but she doesn't get it. Okay, whatever. Next, let's go ahead and take a look and see what's going on here. Alright, Reinhardt has a shield up. In this case, right now, the Hanzo is the only one that you can boost. You don't, if you're not healing, you're boosting. Everybody right now is full health, so you need to make sure that everybody gets their ult as fast as possible, or you're going through ults as fast as possible. So boosting the Hanzo would have been the way to go, so at least he could have a chance to shoot somebody coming up through here. It looks like the McCree is going to take a run up through here. Alright. Let's see. So we have another interesting situation is the Hanzo is trying to shoot the McCree. The Roadhog is the furthest out. Now that the Roadhog, because of his positioning, he's going to be one of the healing priorities now, is because he is alone. And what you want to do is start running towards the steps on your left. And when you run towards the steps on your left, this is going to help you heal him faster, because the second he takes damage, like he's doing right now, is that he's going to start running back to point, and you want to get to him before he dies. Or if he is going to die, you have to just let him die. But it looks like he's trying to haul ass back to point, and it looks like the enemy team is starting to flank on your right now, so it looks like he's aware of that, so he's just trying to get his ass back. Let's see what he's doing. Alright, it looks like he's still messing with McCree. Alright, so this is another time where you flew in front of the window without taking care. If you wanted to pass in front of the window, like really go from one side of the point to the other, I would have said run to the back of point, go around the pillar, and then go across. And so that way you have a little bit of a gap, so they don't have as much of a chance to shoot you. But right now it looks like you got shot here, and so you have to be really careful. Is that the Widow is explicitly looking for you now because you're flying back and forth. She could have won the point for the team just by standing on that railing towards the enemy spawn and sat there waiting for you to fly back and forth, and just shooting you once would have actually given the team the point just immediately off the bat. So, she's still shooting at you again, so you have to be very careful. It looks like this Hanzo is totally not paying attention. He's trying to do sniper wars with the Ashe, I believe. Yep. We have the Ashe over here. So, I do think that this area was okay for cover. I would have pulled further down the steps over here. But, yeah, if you know that they have a Widow, this is one of those times where you have to start watching, or really watching where she is and knowing what routes to avoid in the future. But that also does take practice. I think once you get a little bit more comfortable doing healing, you'll automatically start looking for things like that. Is you'll start looking for, okay, well, if they have a sniper, what's a different or alternative way, or the faster way that I can go without getting shot? Or what you could also do is wait for her to take a shot, and then once you hear her shot pull, it takes her a little bit of time to zoom in again and get the full charge or whatnot, and so you can start moving immediately between shots. And so that would be the time to wait if you absolutely have to get past the Widowmaker and there's no other path. Wait for her to take a shot and then move.
Oh man.
Okay.
I'm
What do we
unlucky.
have here? This Hanzo is the next target, and Hanzo's gonna die. Okay, bye. Okay. So go ahead and haul ass back here. Keep going, keep going. You want to watch your team versus the enemy team. So it looks like we have two that are near death. We have now, yeah, you see that your Roadhog just used his little healing booze. We see that we don't have any healers now, and everybody's health is getting pretty low. I would have used the ult right now. And when you use the ult right now, you can jump further to Anna. I would say use the ult, go to Anna, res the Anna, start group healing them, And then when you're done, let's see what's going on. Ooh, okay. So I don't know what the Widow is doing, but yeah. This would be another time, if you didn't use your ult before, this would be the other time to use your ult. Is that, I think if you did use your ult, the Reinhardt may still be alive. Maybe not, but this would be the second chance to use your ult here. Is what you could do is run up ahead, and when you first peek around the corner, you're going to see the Reinhardt corpse. Start rezzing the Reinhardt corpse and then pull back around the corners. You can still strafe and use your keys and pull back a little bit of a distance. And so that would be the time where you start pulling back around the corner. And this Roadhog is actually going to protect you. And also keep in mind the Widowmaker is still alive too. So between the Roadhog and the Widowmaker, they probably could have taken out the Winston, or you could have gotten the res off, and the Reinhardt would just beat the shit out of the Winston, and then you move on. And so I think it really, sometimes it's kind of a big risk, is you're going to peek out there. You see that the Widowmaker just shot. So this would have been worth the risk, is to glide to the Roadhog, jump to the Reinhardt body, and then pull around the corner while you're rezzing. And I think that would have done you pretty well. Alright, this would have been the next time to try that. You see that there was that shot again. The Winston is distracted by the Roadhog. Actually, this would have been the perfect time. You would have been able to get this res off. So, let's see what else. That is awesome. That is awesome. It's good that you're starting to look out for that stuff. I like it when Symmetra turrets, Widowmaker, little gas thingies, those are the things that you need to look out for, because your team is really just going to keep running. The bear traps from Junkrat is pretty good too. So that's good that you're starting to look out for this and knowing when to switch for that. I think that's perfect. Alright, let's see what we're going to do. What do we have on point? Alright, boost him. Don't heal him at this point. And you need to move. And the reason you need to move is you have one sniper who's actually looking right back at you. And then you have another sniper who's actually looking back at you too. So yeah, you need to jump towards the Ana and get out of there. What you could have done, or one of the options how you could have handled this situation, is flown back towards the Ana. Go, when you glide, you're going to glide towards these steps, and then you run up the steps and just ult. And what you can do is actually shoot this Widow with your handgun. If she does not move, you're going to kill her. Usually she's going to freak out and panic, and then you're just going to destroy her. And then swoop back down and then destroy the Ashe, and you could have taken out those two snipers here and saved the point. Yeah, okay, boosting is good. The Ashe is close to you still, so you do have to move right now. And at this point, it doesn't matter if you're going to be on fire or not, you have to get out of there. At this point, I think the Hanzo is probably, you're going to want to glide here and go into the corner of the Hanzo and then run behind that pillar. I think the McCree is there. I think that's the McCree right there. But at this point, there's only so much you can do. But yeah, the Ashe is just too close, and you're her prime target at this point. So you could have just turned around and started shooting her right now too. Alrighty, alrighty.
Your support has arrived.
Alright. This is tricky. Yeah, at this point, your team has actually left you alone. This Ashe has not been handled whatsoever. You're basically, I think if this was comp, you'd be in serious trouble, as you'd probably be dead right here. But it's not comp. Alright, this is an, oh. Yeah. You want to start running backward. To get out of a situation like this, you start running backward, and you see your Widowmaker here. Your Widowmaker's gonna die, sorry, but you run backward, and then you slingshot yourself forward and glide to the other side in this corner here, and you would have to wait for whoever is approaching point. And that was all you could do, so I really feel for you there. Sometimes that's it. So you did everything you could have done, except the ult needed to happen. The ult absolutely needed to happen. I think that you could have held this point if you had used your ult.
Ah, the wonders of modern medicine. right beside you.
Alright, since the Roadhog is right here, he already has full health and he can heal himself. This would be the time to start boosting him. And when you start boosting him, eventually he can either take down the Reinhardt's shield, or the Reinhardt's going to try to fight him, or he might even go in closer and punch the Reinhardt and still do more damage. So boosting him would be good. Yep, he did exactly. I think if you boosted him, that would have been the perfect time. The Roadhog probably would have hooked. And the only reason I think that he didn't hook right now is because sometimes when you boost somebody, then they know, oh, I'm doing extra damage, so I'm going to prioritize doing the damage that's going to do the most. For example, when you boost a soldier, the soldier is going to be more inclined to shoot his rocket. So, or when you boost a Hanzo, the Hanzo is going to be more inclined to use his rapid fire arrow thingy. So sometimes you can sort of persuade a reaction from people when you're boosting them. And I think that that probably would have happened, but let's keep going. All right, perfect. Still needed to boost. Right now, since you're just healing and they have full health, you're not actually doing anything of benefit right now. So if you had started boosting, you'd actually be giving them ult charge. So just think about that as knowing when to boost and when to switch over to heals. So let's go ahead and also I just wanted to add too is that the ult charge takes priority over the heals. Like if you have to choose between keeping somebody alive and getting them ult faster, go with the ult. It's because like, yeah, you can keep somebody alive, but all it takes is one ult to win a point. So yeah, that's something you want to think about. Let's see. Ooh. Yep, this is perfect. Res her, and then you want to use your ult. And then also this is another time where you're running in front of the Widowmaker again. She's actually at your left side looking through the window, and that shot that she took, I think, actually she might be on ground level, but you can hear her. So she's definitely shooting at something interesting, and it's probably you. Yes. Now she's shooting at you. Okay, if you were ulting, you could have flown down and killed her.
Let's get you back out there.
Alright, you see that the Roadhog threw his hook? Whenever you see the Roadhog throw his hook, you need to boost him. Because if he does do the grab, he can one-shot that person without needing to melee afterwards. So sometimes you just know is when you have a Roadhog in play, you just know to be more conscious of whenever he's hooking. Just like when there's a Zarya in play, you know when the Zarya starts glowing, that's when you start boosting. When there's a Reinhardt doing a fire strike, that's when you start boosting. So it's just little things that you're going to look for each individual character of stuff that they do. Alright, let's see. Alright, at this point, they're no longer pushing. It looks like the enemy team is going to start regrouping. You took down their tank. Their Widowmaker is trying to pull back and get out of there. Your Widowmaker is shooting at something. So what you can do is right now you have nothing to heal, you have nothing to boost because they're not really doing anything. I mean, the Roadhog is taking damage, it looks like, but you could just go ahead and I would say turn around and start boosting the Widow, because when they push, the Widow might have the first chance to actually take somebody out. Okay, we see the Ashe. Oh, your Reinhardt. Oh my gosh, okay. Now your Reinhardt decided he wanted to throw. Let me go ahead and let's see what he was thinking here. So, sometimes this would be okay. I know what he's thinking, and he's thinking, okay, let me push up so I'll buy my team more time. But the problem is that he took too long to push up, so the enemy team is already respawning and running back, and he's charging into them. The time to push forward would have been immediately right when you killed that team. Like if they did a push and they failed to push, then you could push forward because they all died at once and you know that they're going to come out of spawn altogether. In this case, they trickled. So it means that the Widow probably already has, the Widow already has the enemy Moira there to heal her, and there's an Ashe behind the Reinhardt now. So the Reinhardt, you know at this point, he's going to die because he just charged into half of the enemy team. It's going to be 1v3, so he's done. So, since you know he's going to die, there's no point in healing him anymore. He's done. Bye. Boost him. And so since he's going to die, the only benefit he can get now is by getting ult charge. So you might as well just boost him. Looks like the Roadhog. I don't know what the Roadhog is going to do. I think the Roadhog's trying to save him. Boost the Roadhog. Okay, that was a good try. Let me take a look at that again. Let's see. How is this going to look? Ooh. It looks like you panicked a little bit. I think that your head was in the exact place it needed to be. It looked like you boosted him when he threw the hook, which is awesome, and then when he got charged, you should have switched to healing. But, I mean, it happened so fast, but I do think that you did get the right idea, so that's good. That's awesome. Alright. Look out. The moment he drinks his booze, and I think, did he just drink it? Let's look at his health real quick. Alright, so he's not going to drink his booze because you're with him. Start boosting him now. That would be... You know he's going to live. He's already alive. I think if you boosted him to get him to kill the Rhine, you probably would have been able to sneak in there and res your own Rhine. Maybe. I don't know. Alright. Go ahead and jump up to the Widow and boost the Widow, because right now the only person who has eyes on this Reinhardt besides this Anna, and I don't know what she's doing, but you could have boosted the Widow to kill the Reinhardt right now, but he's sleeping. Alright, and this Hanzo hopefully knows when to back off. I would start preparing. Sometimes you know that the Hanzo is eventually going to come back, and when he comes back he's going to need heals. And sometimes when you act preemptively, you have more time to do other things. So in this case, I would have been ready to heal the Hanzo, so when he backs up, when they start pushing, you can heal the Hanzo as fast as possible and move on to something else rather than reacting. So that's one of the things that you want to start thinking about when you're playing Mercy, is you want to act ahead rather than behind. And so acting ahead is jumping up and getting ready for the Hanzo to back up, because you know he's going to do it eventually. Or he's going to die, and then you just leave him. So he's backing up now. There you go. And so this will be the time to start healing him. Alright, nope, leave the tanks alone. They have one tank who can heal. The Anna's already getting ready to start running over there. The Hanzo can be boosted and healed and boosted, and one of the reasons why you want to look at that is because if he does not have ult yet, his ult is so important. This is one of those times when the Hanzo now starts to take priority over the Widowmakers, because if they're already on point, go ahead and start boosting the Hanzo. And I mean, they're not on point yet, but what is she doing? Alright. Ignore that crappy ult, but you're boosting. Good. Yeah. Alrighty. Anna thinks she's a soldier. Let's just... oh my god. Hanzo. Alright, you need to start getting back behind the Hanzo. See where the Widowmaker is right now? You need to start... The moment you hear this Gaelic chanting, and you see the Moira Ball, and you see the Brigitte come out, and you know that the Widow is still in play. The moment you see all this crap... Or the Reinhardt, I think. What is it? Yeah, the moment you see all this crap, just get back to where the Widow is, because this is ridiculous. Yeah. So, Anna's gonna die. Let her die. Start boosting the Roadhog. Okay. Sorry. Start boosting the Roadhog.
Let me get you patched.
Alrighty. And now, since the Hanzo threw away his ult,
Behind you.
you need to make sure he gets his ult back again as fast as possible.
Till Valhalla.
Alright, let's keep watching here. Alright, you're doing good. You didn't really have a choice to boost the Reinhardt in that little Reinhardt versus Rhine battle. At this moment, I know that the Widowmaker is very important because she's a widow, whatever. Your Anna here is... You can res her. The Moira is too distracted with the Widowmaker, and I would say fuck the Widowmaker, go get the Anna. The Anna is so much more important. The Widowmaker's not even going to be able to get back and set up in time anyway. Yeah, so what happened here, and I don't want to make you feel bad, but you basically just chose the Widowmaker over the Anna, and you never choose the Widowmaker over the Anna. You always choose the Anna.
No one can hide from my sword.
Alrighty, let's see, we have the Hanzo. Okay, good. I'm healing the Hanzo as fast as possible. We have the Moira now in our team instead of the Anna, which actually was a very good switch here. Alright, don't worry about boosting him. Don't worry about healing him. You want to heal the Fire Strike. Alright, now they're not pushing anymore, or they're regrouping. So now you want to go back and start boosting the Widowmaker. And this Moira thinks that, oh my god. Alright. Alright, go, yep.
Needed a doctor?
No, leave her. I don't know what she's doing, but she can totally take care of herself.
Do something!
Good. Alright, good. Let's see. Do you have an opportunity to res here? Let's find out.
I'm with
It looks like still not determined. Use your ult now. You have to use your ult here. Is that you have one person on point, you have a Bob, you have an Ashe, you have a Mei behind you, you have the Roadhog to your left, but right now you basically have 3, and it looks like, I don't know, that's a McCree. Yeah, you have to use your ult right now. I would have just stayed behind this pillar and use your ult.
Let me get you patched up.
Alrighty. Yeah. Yeah, if you use your ult, you could have tried to dodge a little bit better. You could have used like little furniture around here, or even, worst comes to worst, if you need to hide somewhere, you have this big, fat, wobbling mass that you can just jump behind at the worst case scenario. And maybe that's what you should have done here, but hiding behind the Roadhog is perfectly acceptable. It looks like I think you would have also lived longer and probably or hopefully bought this Hanzo time to kill the McCree, because he'd be concentrating on you. And it does look like, because he's out of position, that he's going to use an ult. Usually McCrees start getting sneaky when they have an ult, and so that's how you can recognize it. Let's see. He either has an ult or he's just looking to use one. I think he has one. Good. And then we hear Gaelic again. Alright, I'm gonna let this run. Alright, I would have used my ult here. Right here. And you move faster. You can jump straight to them. You have a higher chance of living. I wouldn't have gone across. I would have just used the ult and gone straight in. And then what I also would have done is gone for the Reinhardt res. Oh, actually, look. I want to show you what I'm just now seeing here. Alright, let's rewind this here. Alright, so you're going here. So what's happening is your Widowmaker is setting up looking through her scope. She's actually aiming at the McCree because that's the only target she can aim at right now. The Reinhardt is charging in. She's not going to aim at the Rein. She's aiming at the McCree. The Moira is getting on point. The Reinhardt, on the other hand, is dead. So what's going to happen is this Reinhardt's going to charge in and go straight for the Moira. The Widowmaker is now going after the McCree. And it looks like the McCree is probably going towards the Widowmaker, yes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I misspoke. The Widowmaker is shooting at Zenyatta here. And so what's happening is this McCree is going for the Widowmaker. So you need to actually kill the McCree as soon as possible. And so I would have said, forget about healing. Moira has her heal. She can, when she does damage to enemy players, she gets health whenever she does that damage. She can throw her healing orb out and get health, and it would have been fine. I would have said is that you need to make a choice. Either you need to kill the McCree, and the Widowmaker would have had time to safely kill the Zenyatta here, or you need to jump immediately towards the Reinhardt because he doesn't have that much time left, and res him. And I probably would have gone for the res. I would have just gone for it, but let's see what happens. Yeah, I think that turn is, well, maybe you wouldn't have time to go for the res, but Yeah, I think at this point, since you hesitated, you'd have to just pull out your pistol, and then I would said move behind this wall here, and then start shooting at the McCree. Like, move behind, come back out, shoot at him. He has ult. And that's how you know he has ult, is he's like way out of position. If he did not have ult, he'd be up here shooting, playing it safe around here, or he'd be back where this corner is, or he'd be playing very conservatively. And so that's how you know when they have ult or not. At least from McCree. Alrighty. Let's see. What do we have here? Oh no. Oh no. We have a high noon. Oh, we have the Roadhog ulting to try to push him back. That's awesome. This guy is good. Surrender. And this Moira, awesome. She's buying some time here.
I must go where I'm needed.
All right, let's see what's up with the Moira.
Where does it go?
Yep, I think this was a good move, is that I noticed that it might be tempting to res the Hanzo. I think in this case it was a good move, is that it's so close to the wire here. You have 46 seconds left. The Hanzo could have made it back here. If this was comp, I would have recommended you talking to the Hanzo to make, to either switch to Soldier or a Mei, or maybe a third tank. But the reason why I would have asked for that sort of switch is because the Hanzo's a the Soldier and the Mei can do self-healing. And so that would have been a pretty big benefit just to hold the point a little bit longer. But I would have asked him to switch right then and there, because at this point, what's he going to do? Is he going to snipe them? No, because they're going to come running in. Usually in the 30 seconds, you might as well switch to something that's fast. Just like it's possible that you could have decided to switch to, as you could have played a Lucio or something like that. I don't know. But that definitely is something in the cards, because at the 30 seconds, people start getting a little bit crazy and they decide that that's the time that they need to push in because it's the last go. So they decide they have nothing to lose and they're just going to rush in.
No one can hide from my sight.
Alrighty, nobody can hide from your sight. Okay. This is actually pretty good. We know that they're not grouped up. It looks like we have the Reinhardt saying, okay guys, fuck it, we're going in. Reinhardt may have ult. I don't know if that was him who used it or your own guy who used it. I wasn't looking, but okay, good. Let's see what did we do here.
30 seconds remain.
Boost the Rein. Right at that moment, boost the Rein.
Engaged.
Slowly they realize that.
Alright, this is not good. I think you flew to the wrong person. The Rein is eventually going to take down his shield to do a fire strike, or he's going to move and somebody's going to get behind or in front of the shield a little bit. And that's what the Widow was waiting for, and so you could have boosted the Widow. And it looks like the Zenyatta is probably exposed just of how he's shooting. And you probably could have taken out the healer there. Okay, so, nope, never mind. That's because the Widowmaker's dead now. Okay. Start going down the steps. Nope, don't res her, I know what you're thinking, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, well, you're doing it. Alright, that's the reason why I said don't do it, is that the Roadhog did go in with partial health. And he was, since the entire team is there, he's not going to be able to survive this because the amount of damage is so high. What you could have done is peeked around this corner, started to res, and then backed around the corner again. And so the res would have been completed while you're actually in cover. And that is what needed to happen here.
This is not the
Alright, let's see what happens next.
You must
Alright, you need to get out of this hallway as fast as possible, because this Reinhardt has decided he doesn't care about the point, he wants you, and it's time to run. Alright, what's going on here? Oh. What happened? Okay, running from the Reinhardt. Okay, that's exactly what I would have done too. I think that there's a Moira ball that's attaching to you. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let me just look at this again. Okay. Alrighty. Looks like the Reinhardt's going to charge. I don't think that there's a way that you could have avoided this dying here based on the choices that you made. What I can say is sometimes at Lunar Colony for point B, okay, the enemy team is focusing all of their attention to getting to point. So the closer to the center of point, the more dangerous of a position you're actually in. So that's the way that I look at it, is you might as well consider the center of point being no man's land, because the moment you step in the center, that's the center of attention, plus you're the Mercy, so double the attention. So that means the entire enemy team is probably going to be looking at you in that moment. And you're very close to the center of the point. I think if you were off to the side more, your chances of living might have been just a little bit higher, or if you moved past when you slingshotted towards the Moira, if you moved past the Moira, it's possible that you probably would have been able to use that bar for cover. Yeah, so that's what happened. Looks like you ended up on fire. So I guess there's not too much you could have done here, but yeah, just keep that in mind, is that when it comes to control points, the closer towards the center that you're on is the more dangerous it is. So maybe the skirts would have, like the outskirts of the point would have been better. It's just really not too much. And yep, looks like McCree has another ult here. Alrighty. Yeah, at this point I already know it's done. Nope. Okay. Well, that's the review. Hopefully I caught some things that you had yet to think about. I didn't want to sound like that this is just me telling you what to do or picking on you or anything like that. I do think that you're actually coming a long way and you learn very quickly. I think if anything, just practice your angel glide of where you're going. When you zoom to people, is zooming slightly past them so you have something to slingshot back with if you need to. And you have more maneuverability where you can use the target that you rocketed to or that you glided to. The other thing is just keeping in mind of the sniper line of sights. So if you know that they have a sniper, avoiding walking directly to things in the open. The other thing that I would have recommended is just looking at you always want to do something. So if there's nothing going on, if the enemy team is just sitting there and nobody's pushing and your team is just sitting there with nothing happening, you always want to be doing something, so you start boosting. It's really just whenever there's some downtime, or even if it's like 1 or 2 seconds of nothing happening, you want to look at what else can you do, because the whole name of the game here is trying to get ult as fast as possible and trying to get your team the ult as fast as possible. So you're either healing or boosting, or sometimes if you're in a tough spot, you can be shooting. So, but I think that'll come with time. I think you just need a little bit more experience. I think that over time you're gonna be just fine, and you'll be very good. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think it's just time, that's all. But hopefully this gave you some stuff to think about. Okay, alrighty, I'm gonna turn this off, but also I do have another clip of one of my games, and I just wanted to show you that so you get an idea of what it might look like, and I just wanted to explain too of what I was thinking when I was doing it.